Wilbon, it's our last show until Tuesday, Tony. How you going to spend that 5-day weekend?
I'm Tony Kornheiser. Golfing, napping, looks maxing.
Golfing, napping, what?
Looks maxing.
What the hell is that?
I've had it explained to me. We are much too old for this, but it is what young men do now to maximize their looks, including things like take those hammers and bang in their cheeks with those hammers and stuff like
You're
that.
making this up.
Pluck stuff off their heads.
I see, plucking I get.
Yeah,
It
hammers.
was metrosexual behavior at one point is what it was called.
Right.
Looks maxing.
Looks maxing. Yeah. What
You're
can I
making
tell
this
you?
up.
No, I'm not making it up.
I can't
Well, I'm reading it, but I'm not making it up. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Maxx Crosby, speaking of maxing, was livid. Miami of Ohio was an underdog, and Wilbon and I talk brackets. But we begin today with Venezuela winning the World Baseball Classic last night by beating the United States on a go-ahead run in the ninth inning, 3-2. Bryce Harper had tied the game in the bottom of the eighth with a two-run homer. But U.S. reliever Garrett Whitlock walked the first batter, Luis Arraez, who was then removed for pinch runner Javier Sanoa, who promptly stole second and scored on Gino Suarez's double. The U.S. went out 1-2-3 in the ninth. Wilbon, was this about Venezuela winning it or the U.S. losing it?
Venezuela winning. They manufactured a run when all the pressure was on. They manufactured a run after they could have been crushed by Bryce Harper's home run a half inning earlier. They manufacture walk, stolen base, score on a double to the gap. No, that's classic National League baseball. They won it. They took it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, just, both teams came through in the clutch to a degree.
Both teams played hard, my man.
They did.
Both
The
teams
U.S.
played
couldn't
hard.
reproduce it in the ninth. Wow.
Okay. This was appointment viewing for me,
Yeah.
as it was the entire tournament. I really enjoyed watching it. I don't think, honestly, Mike, that anybody can be shocked that Venezuela won this
Why
game.
would you?
Venezuela, the
Major League
Dominican
ball
Republic,
players.
the United States.
Stars.
They're all very, very good.
Star-driven.
Right. And this was a one-game situation. Now, Venezuela is really good. They're loaded with major leaguers, and they had the home crowd in Miami last night.
Wow.
Now, it is possible, I don't know this, it's possible they wanted it more than the U.S. players, but I will say this, having watched it. In this tournament, Venezuela beat the United States. The United States beat the Dominican Republic, and the Dominican Republic beat Venezuela. So I don't exactly know how you separate them. I am confident of what I'm going to say now. The United States did not hit. They had 15 runs in the first game against Brazil. They had 9 runs in the second game against Great Britain, and they played harder teams. They had 5 against Mexico. They had 6 in a loss to Italy. They had
did a
5
bullpen
against
game.
Canada. Then they had 2 against the DR and 2 last night.
October baseball. In March.
They hit, well, I don't know. They hit a lot of home runs, but they didn't have rallies. I don't remember an inning where the United States had, say, 4 hits. I don't remember an inning like that. And last night, Aaron Judge, who you love, struck out thrice.
Okay.
And Kyle Schwarber,
pitching.
who you love, struck out thrice.
Well,
they didn't hit.
it's called
3 hits all
pitching.
night.
I know you've forgotten what it looks like, because not only does your local team have none, but the whole damn league has none. Because we get to October and they throw out this thing called a bullpen
But
day.
it's not like last night. Somebody went 7 or 8. That's not what happened.
No.
There were bullpen pitchers.
Okay, but they did that because basically contractually, and in terms of health,
And that's
their
good.
teams don't
And
want
that's
to,
good.
That is good.
Yes.
I don't want to see arms thrown out
that's
before.
right.
And by the way, Cubs closer Daniel Palencia came in and said, get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. I'm hoping that works for him all season and my Cubs.
Here's what you're completely right about. That, that ending is what baseball is about. You go ahead early, you get tied, you score late. That's the way you win
and
baseball.
if you need to manufacture it because you're not going to wait on an Earl Weaver inning,
That's right.
3-run homer,
That's right.
you do it.
That's right.
Venezuela. And they're as good as the United States lineup.
Yes, and so's the Dominican Republic. I'm just saying the United States did not hit. Their run total got progressively lower as the tournament went on.
But you know what? For the tournament, they averaged 7 runs a game, while Venezuela was averaging going into the 6.3.
Don't give me averages because there's 15 and 9 in the first 2. Don't give me averages.
Because you beat bums. It's the first round of the tournament.
Give me averages.
You beat nobody. You're beating the directional school.
Don't go there.
Great Britain.
Don't go there.
How many great players you know from Great Britain?
It's not good Britain, baby. It's great.
Let's move to the NCAA tournament, where Miami of Ohio takes the court tonight against SMU in a play-in game. between 11 seeds. Miami was unbeaten this season before losing to UMass in their first game of the MAC. But while the Redhawks are 31-1, they're listed as underdogs against a 13-loss SMU team. Tone, would a Miami loss tonight affect how you see their season?
Mike, I do not expect Miami to win this game.
You don't?
I think if Miami beat SMU, it would be an enormous upset.
Wow.
Yeah, no, Miami.
It's a home game. It's in Dayton.
Miami did not play team as good as SMU all year. They played a very, very weak non-conference schedule. They're in a league that is a lower tier league. I understand lower tier leagues. The Mid-American is not in the same world as the ACC. They're not. Now, I don't say that it would affect, if they lose, it's not going to affect how I view the season. It's really not, because they were 31-0 going into their tournament. Can you list anybody else other than the UConn women who are 31-0 going into their tournament? No, you can't do that. Let me go to my notes here. It's an insult to put them in a play-in game. It is small-minded on the part of the committee.
I agree.
They were 31-0, and okay, they didn't play tough teams. But Mike, they don't go into each season looking for the national championship. They're not Duke. They're not Michigan State. They had the schedule that they had, and they were 31-0.
And by the way, for people who think that folks are just ringing up these Mid-America schools to play them among the power schools, they're not.
No.
They're not.
No.
Can it be exaggerated, the intention of teams, when you call it can be exaggerated, but no, the big boys don't want to play these schools. And if they do, they say, okay, you play 7 games at our place, and we'll give you one in 2033.
That's right.
And that's how that goes.
Right.
Having said that, it's going to affect the way I see it. It is. It just is.
Really?
Is. I think they can win tonight. Because that game's at Dayton. Tony.
Yeah, I don't.
Tony, Dayton sold out, and that crowd is going to be with the Redhawks tonight. They got a shot. Are the people coming up from Ponyland, from SMU?
Well, they got enough money.
They do.
They got enough
They'll
money
have
if they
2 or
want
3
to.
private jets with 8 people apiece.
I don't know.
That's going to be a pro crowd.
I think Miami of Ohio should be applauded even if they lose by 50. I think that they've had a great season. I think for the next 50 years in Oxford, Ohio, that's going to be celebrated. For the next 50 years.
Because you know
31-0.
We're not going to be able to reproduce it, I don't think.
We will stay with the NCAAs. The first group of play-in games saw Howard beat UMBC and Texas get a buzzer beater to beat NC State. Howard moves on as a 16 to play Michigan. Texas moves on as an 11 to play BYU. Wilbon, you can talk about these first 2 games if you want.
Okay.
But my real question here is, what is your Final Four?
All right, my Final Four, and I filled out 2 brackets, but I have the same Final Four: Michigan State, Houston, Arizona, and Michigan.
So you have 2 Big Ten and 2 Big 12.
I do, and
they were the best 2 conferences.
That's way too chalky for me historically. But I'm looking at last year, and I'm influenced by what we saw, and wondering if that's a trend. We talked to our friend Jay Billis about that.
Well, he didn't think it was a trend. He didn't think it was going to happen this year.
He didn't. But I don't have 4 number 1s. I don't have that.
Right.
But then I have Arizona winning, and part of that is wishful thinking. I want Arizona to win. But I'm looking at it and also thinking Arizona could lose its second game. I'm wondering if any part of this tournament goes straight 1990s and gives us some upsets, right? And you look at Thursday, you're looking at your TV screaming out loud.
Yeah.
But those are my 4. I can see any 4 of those. I can see any one of about 8 teams winning. How about you?
Well, first of all, let me say that I watched a lot of UMBC Howard last night.
Me too.
Because
Kenny Blakely,
UMBC
yes.
represents my conference,
Your conference,
the America East, where champions rise, except for last night. And Howard was in control for almost all of the game. At one point, they were up by 14 points. UMBC was great in the last 3 minutes.
They hung in there, man.
Got it to 2 in the last minute. And then Howard made a shot, and they won, so good for them. It's hard for me to give you a Final Four. I get this wrong all the time, and I'm embarrassed how stupid I am. But let me tell you who I want to be in the Final Four.
Ooh.
I want Duke to be in the Final Four, and I don't always feel this way. I want them in the Final Four because they're hurt. They've lost 2 starters, and they are in an impossibly hard bracket. Here's who's in the bracket with them. Michigan State, who you like. UConn, who won 2 in a row a couple of years ago. Kansas and St. John's. That's a killer bracket. I'm not sure Duke is going to get out of that. If I had to pick an upset, I'd pick St. John's. I would pick St. John's.
I have St. John's beating Duke, but I worry about St. John's in its second game before they can even get to Duke. I mean,
I like Arizona like you do.
Yeah.
I like, I'm not going to be surprised if Michigan State or Iowa State or somebody like that got in. I am influenced this year by having watched all these good teams play each other in the last 3 weeks.
It's been great.
Right. So that's why I don't see somebody coming from far
way
off
back,
the rail.
no dark horse?
No, I don't.
So you don't see an 80s or 90s.
No. Who do you see? Who's that team for you?
Tony, I've been looking for it.
You always talk about BYU.
I'll tell you what.
6.
Yeah, but they got their second best players hurt.
Okay.
And so if that kid with the headband was in with Devanza, then I might want to go with BYU because I saw them when he was playing. I like Gonzaga. I like St. Mary's.
Gonzaga never wins.
I'm going to give you a team I got winning 3 games and I can see going all the way and upsetting somebody and winning.
Winning.
The University of Virginia.
Really?
Yeah.
But that's because your wife.
No, that's not because
But it
of
is.
that.
This is.
I watched
This
them.
is your.
I watched them.
Domestic appeal by saying that.
No, I watched them
Let's
all
take a
year,
break. You know
when
it is,
they beat the
Cheryl.
Wildcats.
You know it is. Let's take a break. Coming up, Maxx Crosby reveals how he felt about the trade the Ravens backed out of.
Why are you rooting against Thomas Jefferson's school? The PGA Tour is mic'd up in a new series. What's the word?
You don't think it's slightly pretentious that the decal says the university? Slightly
I think
pretentious?
it's more pretentious that they say my first year as opposed to my freshman
Right.
year.
Do you think Penn can beat Illinois?
No. Illinois is good.
Yeah.
Illinois is like Virginia. They need a break, but they could go to the Final Four. They could.
It is time to show off our spectacular vernacular. What's first?
Maxx Crosby's experience during his visit with the Ravens sounds blank.
Weird. Like totally weird. Maxx Crosby went on his own podcast and he talked about this the other day. Some of the things he said were he didn't see Eric DeCosta, the Ravens GM, for 5 hours.
Yeah.
He shows up at Ravens facility. They examine him physically, apparently give him an MRI, and he doesn't see DeCosta for 5 hours. This makes him nervous. Excuse me. He talks to the head coach, the new head coach, Jesse Minter, and he says that Jesse Minter, that was sort of cold between them, and Jesse Minter was talking about him physically and what they were looking at and what they were finding. He begins to freak out because he thinks, do they want me? What's going on here? And he says, I don't want to have another operation. And finally he concludes, quote, I am where I'm supposed to be. I wasn't supposed to be in Baltimore, and that's it. I'm meant to be a Raider, unquote. It's weird. It's just weird.
His whole
Very
thing.
clumsy. The Raiders did this in a clumsy manner.
Well, I
Not the Raiders, the Ravens.
Yeah, I got a different view on this. First of all, every word that Maxx Crosby spoke, I believed it. That it was sincere. He had a sense of humor about it. Maxx Crosby seems like the kind of guy, if you're going to pick somebody from a team you don't even know across the country to go to dinner with, it'd be Maxx Crosby.
Really?
Yeah, he just seems like just a cool guy to sit around and listen to and talk to. But I think this is the rest of his career. I think this is the rest of it. This is foreshadowing that Maxx Crosby's going to have to deal with this because that knee ain't right, okay? And so people can
So you no longer want him for the Bears?
I told you I didn't want him for the Bears anyway because I told you before I was not trading 2 1s or 1 and a 2 for Maxx Crosby, and I love him. No. And so we got to the point where they tried to do this. And what we got now, Tony, is a great athlete who's going to be lesser because of an injury.
Okay.
And that's foreshadowing.
So we're
going to get 2 or 3 teams, sadly, like this.
You want him to go
awful.
to dinner with, but you don't want him to play on your team.
Not for 2 1s.
Next.
The PGA Tour getting the NFL Films treatment is blank.
Validation. That's validation, Holmes.
Yeah.
And this is what happens when you hire.
Sports.
That's right. That's
the
right.
lines that some of those things have, the autumn wind is a Raider. And the cameras that would catch Lawrence Taylor picking up some lineman, he just ran past saying, son, y'all got to do better than this. It just, they stayed out of the way. They let these stories unfold. They're going to do it with this.
Did you see the Batia thing, what Batia said to his caddy? He asked about a particular woman, said, she's got a sandwich for me. If you see her, would you get the sandwich?
It's the stuff they let in, the editing, the film,
What is
the
your word?
storytelling.
My word is validation.
It is confirming.
Okay.
It confirms everything you do, and it makes it grander.
That's confirmation,
It makes
Holmes.
it greater.
Confirmation of validation.
Confirmation, Holmes,
Can I,
too.
by the way, can I speak of golf for a second?
Yeah.
Did I get it right on bedsheet
I don't
golf?
know, 'cause I didn't
Did I
watch.
get both teams?
I don't watch.
Yes, I got LA and I got Jupiter. Yes.
Play bedsheet
I got
golf.
it right.
I won't watch.
That has to be the final word. Let's take one last break. Still to come, your boy Alex Caruso extends his wingspan with his left shoe.
That was funny. The WNBA season will go on after a reported agreement on the terms of of a new CBA.
Who do you have in the finals of bedsheet golf? Who you got?
Who's left? Is
Well,
Tiger still standing?
Tiger's team is still standing. Tiger does not play. You got Tiger's team?
Yeah, what the hell?
I'm going with LA.
Who's on that team?
Which? The LA team?
Yeah.
Justin Rose, I believe, is on LA.
Justin Rose is on LA
I think
team?
he's on LA.
Can't Justin Rose find a team further east? Closer to where he's